All right, so I'm finished off a rapid reaction. A lot of topics, a little bit of time. You got to drink.
Let's roll, baby. On Wednesday, the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said that the NFL and the NFLPA are in agreements on the compensation picks being awarded to teams who develop and promote and eventually lose minority hires to other teams for GM and head coaching positions. Cody, do you think this will help to get more minorities hired?
I don't think it'll be like a massive difference, but it's probably a step in the right direction. You have to always be careful with things like this. I mean, imagine getting a job just because you're a draft pick to the team. I mean, you clearly wouldn't want that to happen. But I like the way they incentivize it to say, if you lose minority candidates to other jobs, that you kind of to promote. Because I think again, what we talked about this a while back, but the whole problem was I think the lower ranks and getting guys opportunities in the first place, not so much
Right.
opportunities at the top level. It starts a lot lower. So I kind of like how they worded it. So yeah, I think overall it's a pretty good idea. Reported
Right.
by Adam Schefter, Brandon McManus was named NFL's the Week 14 NFLPA Community MVP for launching a relief program for those impacted by the pandemic, providing $15,000 to three area restaurants and $15,000 to cover overdue or rent or mortgage payments for single-parent households and mothers affected by domestic abuse. Drink, that's good stuff, right?
It is. For two folds. Evidently, the pandemic. We know what the pandemic has done, but I like the fact that it tied into domestic abuse. One of the things the NFL has been dealing with recently, it's been a rise of domestic abuse cases. So for a player to come out here and raise money for the pandemic and for domestic abuse victims, I think is outstanding, and I hope it gets him in the man of the year, conversation or something, but it's outstanding. I love to hear stuff like this. You get tired of hearing about the tomfoolery that the NFL players do. Now you can actually hear some good stuff. So I definitely love to hear that. Florida State season is over after the game against Wake Forest was canceled Saturday. The Seminoles finished 3-6 and have declined any bowl offers. How do you grade Mike Norvell's first season?
I'm going to give him somewhere between a C plus and a B minus. I think maybe the Mackenzie Milton pickup might push him to B minus. I think really the biggest thing for the season, the North Carolina win was huge because it's a landmark win that the previous regime never got to keep themselves established. And while there was a lot of disappointment in the season, obviously at 3-6, and this is nowhere near where Florida State should be in football, I think that Norvell did the best he could considering the massive situation, the undertaking of the job itself combined with the pandemic and limited offseason activities, limited coaching or recruiting time. It was just a perfect storm. But you also would have maybe liked to see a few more wins that 3-game stretch after North Carolina where they got boat raced in all those games. But overall, hey, you know what? At least it's over. You got next year. I mean, it is what it is. Let's get to next year, which is what we do now. Tomorrow night on the DAZN pay-per-view at the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas, the WBA World Super Middleweight Champion Canelo Alvarez will face the ring Super Middleweight Champ Callum Smith to become the unified Super Middleweight Champ. Drink, does Smith have a chance in this one?
I mean, it's one of those things. If two guys, go into the ring, it's a fight, right? So I guess he has a fighter chance because he'll be in the ring. But here's the deal: he too slim. I think Canelo he hits him with a 3-piece and a biscuit of body shots, and I think my man fold like a cheap chair at a concert. But he's a champ. I'm gonna give him his just due. He had a outstanding performance against a fellow UK boxer that was pretty popular, George Groves, in the WBSS tournament for the Muhammad Ali Trophy. So I have seen him fight well. I just don't think he's on the level of Alvarez. Probably the reason why Alvarez is fighting him. He's starting to develop a reputation for taking the fights that put him in less trouble. I mean, I guess it's the name of the game. It is a business, but no, I don't. With it all said, I think Alvarez is going to chop him up and he's going to get him out of there. Notre Dame, Brian Kelly said this week that he considered boycotting this college football playoff if families could not attend the game. Do you think Notre Dame will actually do this, or he just blowing some smoke?
I think he's blowing a little bit of smoke. I don't think there's any world where they get an invite to the playoff and they're like, "Nah, we're good. You can go ahead and take A&M." But I think that he is right in the sense that one of the playoff sites being the Rose Bowl. There's a lot of concerns about California's laws right now, not letting anyone in attendance at all for any reason, any spectators. So there's a lot of pressure on the playoff committee to maybe move those games or something. And he's right. If nothing else, families should be able to be attending. I get it. You don't want fans there, but come on, man. Like these kids work so hard all year. They should be able to play in the college football playoff at least in front of their families. Those stadiums are gigantic. You could put everybody in a tent and have plenty of room to spare. Like we're getting ridiculous with this. I really hope they have some common sense here and find the middle ground wherever it is. Because while he's full of it, they're going to play the game. He's going to take his invite. He's not wrong. So let's hope they get it figured out. Last one, also tomorrow night, it's a UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus at the UFC Apex Center. The main event is a UFC welterweight bout between number 5 contender Stephen Thompson and the number 11 ranked contender Jeff Neal. Who you got?
I'm gonna take Jeff Neal actually. Look, Stephen Thompson, number 5 contender, but it's one of the things he just kind of been hanging around for a while. He hasn't really lit up the fight scene in his last couple of fights, and he might be 2 fights away from fighting on another league. To be perfectly honest with you, so I'm gonna take Jeff Neal just because he seems to be the hotter prospect of the two, and he's coming up the ranks as Stephen Thompson is coming down the ranks. Both of their fighting styles make me think this will go to decision. So I feel like if you don't get a TKO by the 3rd round, most likely it's going to go to decision because both guys going to be wore out. But I'm going to get a victory to Jeff Neal.
All right, that concludes today's Drink of Wisdom. I'm Cody Ward.
And I'm Nathan Drinking. And remember, make tomorrow better than today and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we going to do. We going to holler at you until next time, baby. Roll time, baby.